Assalamualaikum and welcome back to the show. My name is Tania Humera, your host. Today I feel so honored to be given an opportunity to be able to have such a nice session with knowledgeable panelists who will be sharing their knowledge regarding Islam. Let me introduce them to you. First of all, we have Professor Aimi, who will be explaining the background and contributions of Abu Hanifa, Dr. Safia, who will be talking about Imam Malik, Dr. Sumayyah, who will be in charge regarding the story of Imam Shafi'i, and Dr. Shahira, who will be talking about Imam Hanbali. Before we begin, I will explain a little bit regarding our topic of the day. I'm sure all of you know that there are 4 Sunni schools of law in Islamic teachings that allow every Muslim to follow and apply in their daily life, which are known as the Hanafi school, the Maliki school, the Shafi'i school, and the Hanbali school. They were founded at Mecca, Madinah, Iraq, Syria, and Egypt by these imams. Leaders of each school have a different viewpoint of the relevant religious law known as mazhab. Therefore, each of these schools has a different way of looking at things and its own purpose. Due to differences of viewpoint, Muslims can comply with the regulations that are relevant to Islam, which cover a variety of things through the mazhab. The people had a significant influence on Islamic jurisprudence methodology and guiding principles, which had long-lasting impacts for how those concepts are understood and applied. Now, I am sure all of our viewers are curious regarding these imams who came from different backgrounds and have made various contributions in the development of Islamic law. Panels, the floor is yours.
Assalamualaikum, I'm Prof. Aimi and I'm going to talk about Imam Abu Hanifa's background and his contributions. So, Imam Abu Hanifa, whose real name is Nu'man ibn Thabit ibn Zuta, was born in Kufa, Iraq in 80 Hijri. So he died in 150 Hijri at the age of 70. He was known for his self-control, humble spirit, and devotedly religious. So this can be seen when Imam Abu Hanifa was offered to be chief treasurer and chief judge by the governor of Iraq, and then he refused to be to this office. So besides that, he first dedicated himself to the study of theology, and then he pursued to study Islamic legal knowledge in Kufa. And Abu Hanifa studied fiqh from Hamad ibn Sulaiman, who was the most knowledgeable teacher at the time. He then went to Mecca and Medina, which is the center of the religious teachings of Islam. Imam Abu Hanifa was taught by almost 4,000 teachers, and it was said that some of them were the Sahabat of the Prophet, Tabi'in, and also companions of the Tabi'in. Abu Hanifa went to a lot of different places to learn about religion. So one of the Imam Abu Hanifa's biggest contribution is the establishment of the Hanafi school. He contributed to the development of faith by asking intelligent questions and trying to answer them in meditative way. He will firstly look into the Quran and the Sunnah, and if he does not find any direct solution, then he will refer to the companions of the Prophet, and then he will use his best judgment. So he introduced the necessity of qiyas and argued that it should be significant in determining religious ruling, mainly when a particular issue is not explicitly mentioned in the Quran or the Hadith. So he believed that scholars or juries who measure in fiqh should exercise ijtihad to come up with a ruling. So he emphasized on the use of reason and independent legal reasoning rather than solely relying on the literal interpretation of text. So this approach became the foundation of the Hanafi school, which is one of the 4 main school Sunni Islamic law. So his mazhab also being practiced mostly in the India, Central Asia, Turkey, Pakistan, and also Balkans. So other contributions of Abu Hanifa to Islam is he was the pioneer and in the classification and compilation of fiqh. He also wrote many books which include Fiqh ul-Akbar and Al-Fara'i. So therefore, Imam Abu Hanifa's influence extended beyond the Islamic world, and he is highly respected by Muslims around the globe. So his teaching and rulings is still continued to be followed by many Muslims today. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum, I'm Dr. Safia and I'll be explaining on Imam Malik. For his background, Imam Malik's full name is actually Abu Abdullah Malik ibn Anas ibn Malik. He is an Islamic scholar who established the Maliki school of thought. Imam Malik was born in the year of 93 Hijrah and died in 179 Hijrah. He is a hadith expert in Medina, the city where Prophet Muhammad SAW once resided. Imam Malik is an important figure. He is also known to be a person who had great respect for the Prophet. To illustrate, Imam Malik never rode a camel in Medina to honor the tomb of the Prophet. Not just that, if a person came up to him to ask about a hadith by the Prophet, Imam Malik would not answer the question until he took a bath, dressed up neatly, and wore fragrances. This shows how highly he respects the Prophet. As for his contributions in Islamic law, Imam Malik developed the Maliki school of thought. The sources of law applied in this school of thought are the Quran, Sunnah, Qiyas, Maslahah al-Mursala, and the one he emphasized the most, the traditions of the people of Medina or Amal Ahlul Madinah. Imam Malik believes that Amal Ahlul Madinah is an authentic form of Sunnah because the people of Medina are descendants of the Prophet's companions. This is why the Maliki mazhab considers Amal Ahlul Madinah as the source of Islamic law, even when the other mazhabs do not recognize it as one. The Maliki school currently prevails throughout countries including Sudan and Morocco. Besides that, Imam Malik also produced Al-Muwatta. This book is known as the oldest surviving compendium of Islamic law. Al-Muwatta is not only known as a collection of hadith, but also governs matters on fiqh, for example, matters on prayers, zakat, and fasting. Imam Shafi'i once said that Al-Muwatta is the soundest, nearest, most correct, and most beneficial book on earth after the Quran. This shows how Al-Muwatta is beneficial to the development of Islamic law. Besides that, Imam Malik also gave rise to a great scholar, Imam Ash-Shafi'i. Imam Malik gave free teaching classes, and one of his students was Imam Ash-Shafi'i, the founder of the Shafi'i school of thought. Imam Shafi'i gave many contributions to Islamic law from the knowledge that he had gained from Imam Malik and the other scholars. Therefore, it is clear that Imam Malik is a prominent figure in the development of Islamic law based on all of his major contributions mentioned before. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Professor Sumaya, and inshallah I'll be talking about Imam Al-Shafi'i. So, Abu Abdullah Muhammad bin Idris Al-Shafi'i, or famously known as Imam Al-Shafi'i, I'm sure this name must be familiar to our ears. Yes, he is the leader of Shafi'i school of thought, which is school of thought we use as a guidance in Malaysia. He is the only Imam which has a blood relation with our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Imam Shafi'i was born in 150 Hijri in Palestine, Gaza, and lived for 54 years long. Imam Shafi'i, known as a genius because he memorized the whole Quran only at the age of 9, and he also a very passionate young boy in gaining knowledge. Imam Shafi'i travels from country to country only to study with the various Imam, including Imam Malik, where at that time Imam Shafi'i only 20 years old and been in Medina with Imam Malik for 9 years. So, alright, moving on to Imam Shafi'i's greatest contribution was the creation of a new synthesis of Islamic legal thought, which is Shafi'i school of thought. It was said as synthesis because Imam Shafi'i had an insight in restructure, the idea that may be already familiar in Hanafi or Maliki school of thought, but the idea is restructure. And furthermore, a great contribution on Muslim jurisprudence and development of usul fiqh started through his kitab named Ar-Risalah. Imam Shafi'i was the first to come out and wrote a very systematic and detailed method in finding, arranging, and creating a hukum. Ar-Risalah until now is a great reference in the world of usul fiqh. A day would not be enough to list down each of his stories and contribution. However, Imam Shafi'i has left us with not less than 113 kitab, and there would be a very massive support and contribution in the field of knowledge. All in all, he is a very prominent and important figure in the development of Islamic law, jurisprudence, and usul fiqh.
Lastly, I would like to share the background and also the contributions of Imam Hanbali, who was the last Imam among the Imams of the sect. Firstly, Imam Hanbali full name is Ahmad ibn Muhammad ibn Hanbal Abu Abdullah al-Shaybani. Imam Hanbali was born and raised in Baghdad, Iraq. He was born in the Islamic month of Rabiul Awal, 164 Hijrah. Imam Hanbali lost his father at a very young age and was therefore raised as an orphan, which is the reason why he learned to be self-reliant from childhood. Moreover, he started his education in Baghdad and subsequently he traveled to Mecca, Medina, Kufa, Basra and also Yaman to acquire knowledge from different scholars. He is also an important scholar as he is considered as the founder of the Hanbali school of Islamic jurisprudence. Imam Hanbali was also one of the greatest memorizers and narrators of hadith. One of the contributions of Imam Hanbali is the development of the Hanbali school of thought. Hanbali scholars adhere closely to Quran, hadith and also the opinions of the early Muslim community. The Hanbali school emphasizes a strict adherence to the literal interpretations of the text and rejects any form of innovation or speculation in legal matters. It is known for its conservative approach and strict adherence to the teachings of the Prophet and the early Muslim generations. The Hanbali school is particularly influential in Saudi Arabia and parts of the Arabian Peninsula. Next, Imam Hanbali greatly contributed to Islam as one of his most famous books is the Al-Musnad, which is a hadith collection. And in the book, he has compiled as many as 40,000 hadiths, and it contains thousands of hadiths of the Prophet Muhammad SAW, along with the traces of his companions that are narrated in Musnad. Other than that, the book is an important reference in the field of hadith. And other than Al-Musnad, there are other books by Imam Hanbali which are An-Nasak, Wal-Mansuk, and also Kitab At-Tariq. That's all from me. Thank you.
Alhamdulillah, we have reached the end of the show and we have listened to every panelist explaining the backgrounds and contributions of such great scholars, and I hope that we do learn something in this session. We can see that each of them has such a unique perspective when it comes to passing a new legislation in Islam, as he was influenced by a variety of things. Although each of them has a different point of view, they are still known as Imam or Mazhab for their theories that they contribute to Islam, resulting in having such significant impact on the application of Islamic law. I think that is all for our show, and I want to thank our viewers for tuning in. Goodbye and Assalamualaikum.